Hello there, it's Vince here from the YouTube channel My Mate Vince, and in this video today we're going to be looking at a variety of different items and trying to fix them. Some will be electronic, some will be mechanical, but they are all supposed to be faulty. I have bought some of them from eBay and others have been sent into my PO box. So there should be a good variety of stuff to attempt to repair here. Now, I'm not a professional at this, I'm just somebody that likes to tinker with stuff like this. So it might be similar to you doing it yourself. So let's get started, and hopefully by the end we will have some fixes. It's going to be a long video, so if you don't like the fix, you can just fast forward through to the next one. I'm sure there's going to be something in here that will keep you entertained. Let's get started.
Right, next up we have this Tomy game. Bought it from eBay and basically it said it was faulty, and it certainly is. I've got a C-type battery in the back here. There's no corrosion at all on the battery terminals, and it's not doing anything. Yes, they look as clean can be. It's got an amazing amount of discoloration here. I mean, I presume originally this would have been clear. We have a crack here, another crack here. Condition is not great. Don't even know how to pronounce that. Is it just yeah, or is it like yeah, as in pain? I don't know. But yeah, it says start, so you're supposed to turn this, but this just seems to be turning freely. So I think it's something to do with here. When I look at a game like this, all I visualize is noise. When I see this now, I can just hear it going like the motor turning. So hopefully by the end we will get to hear it. Now, I'm hoping something like this is going to be fixable. Oh, it's actually newer than I thought. It says 1990, made in Thailand. I thought this might have been from the 80s. What we got going on here? Ah, okay, so when we turn this, hold on, is this even turning down here? Yes, it is. So we got a little micro switch here. It's all very dirty, isn't it? I wonder, is that micro switch just not making a contact? Right, so there's nothing there. Now let's turn this. Yeah. Right, well let's see if we can work out what's going on here. We've got a white wire going to the switch, but we've got a red wire coming out of the battery compartment. Is this going to come off? Or is it going to be a nightmare? Oh, we've got some screws up the top here. Let's undo the screws. Okay. Ah, you know what this is going to be? C's motor, isn't it? It's going to be because the motor hasn't run in so long that the motor's just not going to turn. So let's see if we can turn it by hand. I wonder if what do I have to do to get it turning by hand? Will this turn by hand here? Let's take it off here. That's what it's going to be. What did we have recently with the C's motor? Oh, it was a dog, the Nintendo. Numerous C's motors. Oh, and this here turns this way. I don't want to turn it upside down, but hold on, can I show you this? You see this thing here? This thing. Yeah, that was going to fit into one of these, isn't it? Ah, okay. So that's on a spring there. Oh, so it's acting as a clutch. It's on a little spring. So for example, if something got seized up, under normal operation, that spring will put enough friction against this for it to always work. But watch, if for example I was to grab this, you can see I can still turn it. because it's overcoming the power of the spring against that there. So that should move down. Yeah, there you go. Okay, amazingly those gears are not cracked. Miracle of miracles. So I think this is the problem here. So let's pop the battery back in and see if it's turning. Hopefully it's not. And then by turning it, we might kickstart it. So I'm going to be very gentle. Put this battery back in. Right, here we go. So when I put these two together, it should start going. And it's not. There you go. Look. It's not going, you see? So we are going to have voltage here now. But the motor's just seized itself up. Again! These things are just common. Right, so if I go here and here, unless the switch is very dirty, we should see some sort of voltage. I'm going to touch this here. There you go, 1.5 volts, but nothing's happening. Right, okay, so let's give it a spin while doing this here and see if it starts going. There you go. This feels a bit weak. Let's give it a little turn. Now we're getting there. Now we're getting there, listen. It's ramping up. Can you hear that? It's going up in stages. How good is that? I love seized motors. There we go. You can tell now that's full speed. Results. Okay. Happy days. I'm not sure why seized motors give me such joy, but they do. This has just probably been up in the attic for the past 10, 15, 20 years, maybe longer. And because it hasn't been played with, the motor hasn't moved. Then as soon as you give that motor a little kickstart, it goes onto a fresh bit of contact on the inside. And I think then as it starts spinning and spinning and spinning, it cleans itself up. Right, so I'm just going to put this all back together and then we can end on a little bit of gameplay if you can see through the clouded cover. I can't retro bright it because it's going to be on the outside, not the inside, the the staining, and it's all been painted on the outside. So unfortunately, if you put some sort of chemical on it to clean it, I think the paint is just going to come straight off. You know, if you put that peroxide or whatever, I think the paint will probably come straight off. And then I don't know, I think I'd rather it cloudy with paint on than clear-ish, still not going to be perfect, with no paint. Remember, if you were collecting these, you're not going to go for this one here. This is just a repair video, and it's just nice to see what the problem is. Anyway, when we put it back together, let's give a shout out to the My Mate Vince Massive. They're the top level supporters over on Patreon, and the members this month are kitsdigital.com, Kip Hakes, Max Rokotansky, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, DJ VG, Pigsy, Anthony Dean, Bazza2, Russ Melanson, Gaspar Heller, Rickard Bergland, Soul Reaver 555, the My Mate Vince fan club over on Facebook. Yes, believe it or not, there is a fan club, not run by myself, but there is one. And Tobias Henegg. So many thanks to each and every one of you. Apologies, I'm a bit nasally at the moment. I think I've got a cold coming on. And I haven't even done any work on the car. What's going on? If I was working on the car, I'd have an excuse to have a cold, but I haven't. Anyway, let me show you the gameplay at the end. It's quite a fun game. Right, so I've been messing with it. The best bit by far is this bit where you have to hit the ball up and you've got to get it onto the magnet off the plane, dodging this bomb here. I like that. I have managed to complete it, but I just went down this way here for C. It'd be nicer if they didn't give the option just to whack it and let it go all the way down here. It'd be nicer if they made you get it into here, because then it will rotate, fall into here, then drop to the bottom. Or if you fall short, it goes into here. Then when you press the button, you've got to time it so it gets through this bit here. That'd be a lot more interesting than just whacking it and making the ball go here. So let me just do a tiny little bit of gameplay. I'm going to fast forward through it. It's incredibly noisy and it's quite irritating, but yeah, it is a good skill game, but it's just so noisy. Right, so I've got to do this bit here now. There we go. This is my favourite bit now. Just move the camera up a little bit. So we're in here and I've got to time it just right and dodge that bomb. Ah! So now I'm back to the beginning again. There we go, back to here again. Yes, see there? I love that bit. Now you've got to wait for this to drop. Now when it goes up here, I'm going to try to not hit it quite so hard. Let me just angle this a bit differently so you can see what's going on. Right, here goes. So I'm here now and I want to jump it over here. Nah. See, and then it just comes down here. But then all you've got to do is whack it up. I'm not sure whether it's... it just doesn't seem right. It just works its way up here now. It's a shame that you can bypass that whole bit. And then when it gets to here, I've got to get it into the hot air balloon, which is easy. And then that brings it up to this gold bit here. Yay! And then you start again. Anyway, a nice easy fix, and yet again, a seized up motor. And you've got to hand it to Tomy, they always come up with quite ingenious games, or very ingenious games. This is all running from one motor. That is something you always find with Tomy toys from the 80s, and this is 1990, is that they all run from one motor, which is amazing. A load of different gears allowing you to do that. So yeah, thoroughly like that one there, and it was lovely seeing the motor ramp up in speed as the power was going into it. It was like it was going through the gears in the car. You could hear it going, just getting faster and faster, which was just lovely. Really like that one.
So now the background of this next clip is I was invited down to Bristol for a few drinks and a meal out, and my friend was having a problem lifting his decking up. This is good quality decking and he was having an extension done, so he wanted to lift this up to reuse it. But what happened was when he put it down, he sunk the Torx bits a little bit too far down, and a load of mud, dirt, etc. has got compacted in the holes. And there must have been about 50 holes that he couldn't get the decking screws out of, and what was happening is he was just trying to lift up the boards using force and they were snapping. So in this video I did a little workaround that worked an absolute treat. He was over the moon. All the bad ones were circled, and I think out of all of them there was only 2 that we couldn't lift up, and they were because they were stripped beforehand. So he managed to save like 90-something% of the decking, so he was well happy. And he'd asked a couple of builders and they were like, you ain't going to get that decking up. But it just shows you, by just thinking a little bit outside the box, then you can. And this worked an absolute treat. Let's play the clip. Well, if you've got problems with these screws here that have been sunk a little bit too deep and the Torx bit is just spinning and it's not making contact with the screw, for example, this is Torx 15. If I go in here, it's spinning, it's not working. If I get a smaller Torx bit, so this one here is a T9, and put it in here, then it will clean out all the dust and the dirt that's compacted down there over the months and years. Because this will go into the middle of the Torx bit to clean it right the way out. And now get yourself a vacuum cleaner, hoover it out, and that means now the head is nice and clean, so we can then extract the screw. We'll do one more next to it here. Sometimes if it's stripped, you might have to actually go to the next size up. So if this one is a little bit too small, then you could go up to a T20 and just put a load of pressure down. So again, this one here is circled, nothing's happening there. Even if I put pressure on it, nothing's happening. Get the smaller Torx bit. It's not going to be good for the Torx bit, but they're cheaper than the decking because this is all going to be reused. Vacuum it out, pressure down, and then they come out. So there we go. Hopefully that's a little tip that might help you out. And something that helps me out massively is my sponsor, PCBWay. PCBWay have over a decade experience in the PCB industry. They have state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities and they use the latest technology to produce high-quality PCBs that meet your specification. But PCBWay don't just make circuit boards. Do you want your aluminium brushed? Well, PCBWay can do that for you. Do you want some laser cutting? Well, they have CNC laser cutting machines as well as CNC milling machines as well. And if you want your part painted, guess what? They also have options to paint it. Here we have a nice example of some high gloss paint. So check out the link for PCBWay down in the description down below and you can see all of the things that they offer. So a massive thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring the My Mate Vince channel. Now, next up we have this. I'm really looking forward to this one. A Super 8 projector. This should be interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, look at what we have here. How cool does that look? It is a Super 8 movie projector. So Hanimex Loadmatic 800 even came with the box. I bought it from eBay for around about £12-ish and it came with two films, this one here and this one here. Problem is I haven't got a spare reel that I can put onto. Actually, I wonder would a reel-to-reel player, an audio one, work? Maybe it would. Maybe I should look into that. But when I plug it in, it said it's faulty, but it didn't give the description. When I plug it in, it's making one hell of a racket. Amazingly, the bulb still works after all these years, but it doesn't seem to be feeding through the film. This metal thing here, I don't want to... Well, it's off at the moment, but I still got to be careful because there might be capacitors. There's a metal thing in here. It doesn't seem to be spinning. And it's got sprockets on it. And those sprockets should be going into these bits of the film here to put it through. Can you see these holes? And it doesn't seem to be doing that. So I'll get the camera on a tripod, show you what it's doing. I think we're going to have to take it apart and see what's what. I have fed the tape through. I've undone this screw here. I've fed the tape through. And it's still not spinning. So I think we need to take it apart and see how that mechanism's working. But I'm really looking forward, if I can get it to work, into seeing what's on these films here. I think that's so cool. I can see like a load of ones and stuff on this. 20, 19, 17. So it looks like there's some countdown going on here. So I'm really going to look forward to see what's on that. And also this one here. Should be exciting. Now watch this. I'm going to plug it in. Even the old-fashioned plug here, you see where it hasn't got the... Oh, what? Never seen that before. That's lower than that. Oh my word. Do you know what? When I plugged this in one time, it didn't work. I bet you because that was in there or something. I was going to say it hasn't got the sleeves around here. I was wondering why it didn't work once when I plugged it in. Okay, so that plug, oof, I feel a bit nervous about even plugging that in. But I had it plugged in before. Hopefully it doesn't spark. Yeah. Now watch, when I turn it on, this spins around like crazy, but I can't feed it in. So... Right, okay, hold on 1 second now. So let's get this here. And turn on. See? And actually, that's probably supposed to be loose, isn't it? And this one needs to be on the take up. Right, let's leave that loose. Let's put the torch on as well, the bulb. Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you have to have that locked in or not? The thing is, if I lock that in, that's going to be spinning. I don't understand. It's going to be one's going to be spinning faster. Surely you only have the take-up reel locked in, because otherwise they're going to be spinning at different speeds depending on how much tape's on there. But what's stopping that from falling off? I suppose when it's on, no, it's still going to fall off, isn't it? Can you lock this into place without it actually locking in? This is going to be painful for you if you know about these things. But remember, I don't. And I've watched a quick video on a Super 8, but it wasn't this one here. It didn't talk about locking these things in or not. I might have to watch some more videos. But first things first, I want to get it loaded in here anyway. So let's leave that loose there. So you can see the lamp. But look, can you see it's not being fed in? Yeah? That's me pushing it in. It's not going in there. Oh, it looks so good though. Remember, there's no audio on these, but what I did learn is some of the later ones had, do you know, like the cassette tapes that we used to listen to? They had like a cassette tape going down the side of it. So they had the film here and then a magnetic strip that used to do audio as well. So this one here is purely moving image. Let's take it apart and see what's happening. Should be exciting. Well, annoyingly, I can't use the one from the reel-to-reel player that I got from Norfolk Man Cave because it's the holes. That hole's way too small compared to that one there, so obviously audio and film are different, which I suppose was to save confusion and maybe damage.
This has got the ultimate charity shop smell. It's just got such a distinctive smell that is like old person's home charity shop. Really weird. Right, first things first, I am going to change out the plug. Now, never copy what you see in my videos, so I might be working on this with the covers off, but it would be unsafe to do so because I'm going to have mains voltage going into it. So just taken purely for entertainment. Haha! Oh my word, they've oh my, whoa, there's no fuse. Oh my word, they've used that as a fuse. Wow. Okay, they've used, well, I suppose maybe years ago, yeah, there probably was just fuse wire rather than a fuse. I thought in the 70s you had fuses, did you not?
You know, looking at this now, I think it was a bodge job. I don't think there was ever plugs designed to take wire as a fuse. You know, normally you plug in a 3 amp, 5 amp or 13 amp fuse here in the UK. So I think the person, instead of doing a normal thing, which would be go down to the local Woolworths, which everybody did to get their fuses, I think they just used a bit of fuse wire that they had from their fuse board. Whether it's bodgy or not, yeah, I suppose it's not going to make a great connection, but maybe it's just as safe if it is making the connection. It's just that it's designed to have a normal fuse popped in there. So yeah, I don't think this was standard whatsoever.
Right, I wonder what fuse I need to put in this. Does it have any? Oh, here we go. It tells you what lamp to put in. An 8 volt 50 watt Osram. PI55, that looks like piss. A piss lamp. PI55, made in Australia. So it says it's 150 watt max. So if it's 150 watt max, then a 3 amp fuse is going to be more than enough, because a 3 amp fuse is going to get you all the way up to about 700 odd watts. So yeah, I'm going to put a 3 amp fuse in.
Right, I've got my 3 amp fuse now, so I'm just going to pop this in and wire it all up. If you're from another country, you might not be aware of the UK plugs. I would say do a little bit of research on them. Watch a YouTube video. I think Tom Scott did one years and years ago, but they really are a great piece of design. It's not just a plug, it's the socket as well. Bearing in mind, these things will last for countless times of insertion and taken out, and they will still work perfectly. Little things like the earth pin is longer on purpose, and that's so when it goes into the socket, there's a little shutter to stop little kids sticking things in to the live and neutral, and what it will do is when you put the earth pin in, it lowers the shutter down to give you access to the live and neutral. So little things like that would have taken a lot of thought back in the day, and people take it for granted, but it's really interesting when you start looking into it. Anyway, the plug is now on.
It's nice because you have a little foot here to adjust the height of the projector. Right, obviously I'm unplugged. Now, so here goes. Such a nice mechanism. Look at that, after all these years and lack of maintenance, it still just works. So it's this thing here. Let me show you. I'm not going to put my hand anywhere near it. Look at that fancy bulb. Let me zoom in to show you. This is the PI55 one. I mean, look at it. I've never seen anything like that. It's amazing, isn't it? It just looks so old. And it is. So I'm going to plug it in. Let's see if this thing here is spinning. Keeping my hands well away because I'm not sure what I can and can't touch. Okay. That's spinning. That's spinning. Oh, but look, they do stop. So maybe they're on some sort of like clutch thing. That's spinning, but look, that's not spinning. That's rigid. Look. Can you see this is spinning? But this isn't. Ah. Right, let's turn it off. And unplug again. So we're out of the mains. But I've still got to be careful. Look at that massive belt in here, that massive rubber belt. It's amazing it hasn't perished. Right, so let's see what's going on here. So that comes out. Right, well, straight away I can see that that's broken, isn't it? That thing there. That should be on here. Right, so that's broken. Not quite sure what that does. I presume it's some sort of guide. And this is just spinning freewheeling. So does this just need tightening up? Well, let's see now if it's going to work. Plugging it in again. Keep my hands well clear. No, it's still not spinning. So it's not to do with being tight or loose. Unplugged again. Okay, this has come off. Well, hold on a minute now. That's got a bit taken out of it. Look, that's not round. That's got a flat part here. But yet this is not flat. Hold on. We have... No, but we've got a little grub screw. We got a grub screw. So the grub screw must have worked its way loose. Let's assume we've got another 2 grub screws here. It's all incredibly well made. Ah, we're missing the spindle just here. Let's zoom right in. I'm just going to put this to one side for a minute. It's nice to have some mechanical faults, you know. It looks like glue's been put on these to stop them coming loose. So we've got this one here is just about okay. Looks like it's had a massive whack here. So the film is running kind of above this, isn't it? Yeah. And this is going into these bits off the film. These bits here. Oh my word, I can see. Oh my god, I can see. Hold on. Isn't it? It's an aeroplane. Ah, oh, how cool is that? It's an aeroplane. Coming in. Look, look. You can see he's going a little bit further each time. Wow. Ah, I hope I can get this working. Imagine if there was something like really important on that tape. Ah, this is designed to be replaced. How good is that? Because this is in separate parts here. Right, so we've got one little spindle missing, but I think it's still going to pull through because the tape's going to be wrapped around it. And we still do have something here. Right, let's try to undo this thing. Right, let's use a tiny little flathead. See, what's nice is these things, they're made to be repaired. You don't even have to buy the whole thing. You'd be able to just buy that, well, not now, but years ago you would have been able to buy just that middle thing there, which is nice. In fact, at the very bottom of the thing it said something about spares. Look. Yeah, for service, spares quote, and it gives you the number here. You know, so when you ring up, they know what you've got. It's good, isn't it? Oh, is that going to come undone? So has it broken off the inside then? Where even do you go through? I don't think it's through enough. Was clearly not, is it? Because it was just spinning. Let's try tightening. No, I'm not going to be able to get this undone. Let me try some heat. Whoa, getting hot. Oh, I can't touch it, it's too hot. Yes, look at that. Heat's the answer. Heat is the answer. Right, I'm just going to take it out and give it a clean, and then we'll put it back in. Right, let's see if it's broken at the edge. So the glue really is just on top of it. That's not broken. So I think it just needs to be put back on and then tightened up. Maybe the whole thing just popped off rather than this coming loose. So we're going to be going on this way because the sprockets need to face me, because when you put the film in it's supposed to face you. And we need that flat part here to be hold on, let me get this perfect now. The flat part, really I want that to be upright. I'm just going to plug it in for a second because it's a bit hard for me to work there. That'll do, up in that direction. Unplugged. So we are going to have this at 2 o'clock. Perfect. Oh no! No, no, no! It's fallen into the abyss! Oh, I think I can see it. I think I can just see it. Please don't fall deeper into the machine. No! You fell deeper into the machine! How dare you! Oh, it was all going so well. Now I'm going to try to... Oh, thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you! Oh. Well, I want to make sure I don't cross thread this when I put it back in. Oh yeah, look at that, lovely. So I'm going to do this up as tight as it will go. There. Now let's see, are you spinning? That didn't sound good. What the hell? Right, okay, let me try it upright. Something's jammed. Oh no, what have I done? Have I put this on here too tight? Yes, I think I must have put that on the back bit too tight. Well, we definitely know it's gripping. I'm unplugged again. So I suppose there must be some sort of, shim or something that you put in here to... How are you supposed to know where that goes? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as my shim. There. Right, let's see now. Are you going to spin? Ready? No. What's going on? Let's take this off completely. And I haven't taken apart anything else. Surely the screw dropping into it couldn't have caused any bother. Let's see if you're spinning now. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, what have I done? What have I done? I'm unplugged. What's happened? Why are you jammed up? Wow. What on earth? Oh my god, it's like B.A. Baracus. What? Look at that chain. I was not expecting to see that. That's insane. Look at the size of that. Massive. Why are you not turning? Why are you not turning? So this is turning. Hold on now. This is turning this here. Why are you jammed up? Seems to be freely moving. And this is the thing that I'm interested in. This is what's turning, you know, this is the sprocket. So the sprocket is guaranteed to turn because unless that was to become loose. But it's not. It's jammed up at the moment. It doesn't feel jammed now though, so what jammed it? And we've got a massive spring here. What's that spring about? Where does that go to? Oh, this thing. What earth is going on? Oh, hold on a minute. That's the viewing. Look down here. I can see the viewing slot for the actual camera, and then the massive fans here. Look. 1 second. Let me get that in there. Focus. Right. See in here? That there. Right in there. That's the viewing slot because the camera is the opposite side of that. Yeah. And it looks like, well, in fact, we can see it better from here. These massive things are like, these block it up. So is that what gives us the illusion of the moving? It's not just the camera, it's not just the film being pushed through, it must be in motion with this as well. Do you know what I mean? It must be in between each bit of movement. Is this spinning or something? Because otherwise, why would you have this? This is serving no purpose. This isn't the fan, this is the fan. This is the fan, and this is the fan to keep it cool. So this must be in between each snapshot. This must spin to give, why? Would that be to stop some sort of motion sickness or something?
No, I haven't looked up the reason for it. This is just a voiceover. I think it shows a picture of the aeroplane, and then you have a black bit of the, let's just call it a fan, a shutter. And then you have the next picture of the aeroplane a little bit further, and then the black bit. Maybe the reason for that is otherwise you're going to see the image, aren't you, being pulled away and the new image coming on. It's not going to look right. But in between each image, if you just have a black bit, maybe your brain ignores the black bit and you just see a moving image. While if it wasn't there, all you're going to see is basically, you are still going to see the plane moving along, but you're also going to see the plane getting dragged up, and then the next plane coming up from the bottom getting dragged up, and then that one goes up, and then the next plane comes along. So I think it would look weird on the eyes. I think it would look a mess. So it actually makes sense. The timing is all together. So in between each picture, you're going to have this. When the picture's being moved to the next picture, you're going to have a black image. I'm not sure why it's become jammed up though.
I think this is going to work now. I don't know why it's seized up there. And you can see it is on a kind of clutch. I can move this independently of that. So if there was any jam, you can see it. You can move these independently. You see the rubber ring's not turning now. So that is acting as like a clutch. Right, okay. I am going to put this back on because I can't see. As far as I can see, that's going to work just fine. Maybe that got caught in here. I reckon that's what happened. I reckon that got caught there. In fact, it does feel a little bit loose. I think that needs to be tightened, does it not? So, do I loosen that one up and just tighten it a bit? They look like they're on teeth against each other. I'm lifting this one up a bit more. I'm probably doing something really vital here now, which is going to ruin it. Oh, no, here we go. Look, was that hitting against there? Was this hitting against there like that? Maybe I knocked it. So that's got to clear here, hasn't it? So let's keep that there. And you know what? That feels nice. I think it's this bottom one that takes up most of the tension, not the top one. That there feels nice, and we're clearing this shutter thing here. I'm going to go with that. It's actually quite simple on the, not simple, but you know, there's not much to it really. Although you would say it looks very cheap because it's plastic, it does go together very well. So it is well made, even though it's plastic. You can tell it's made relatively cheaply compared to probably ones that are all metal. But it's still a good product. Right, let's see now. Are you going to turn? Turning it on now. Result. Right, so I'm just going to put this sprocket wheel back on and hopefully we'll see it spin. Right, I want to see if that is going to spin now. Here goes. Yay! If I got my finger trapped in there, I think it would crush it round. Right, okay, that seems very powerful. Okay, so that's nice and straightforward. So I'm going to put it back together. I'm going to get some white card out. I'm going to dim the lights and let's see what film is on this. What aeroplane footage is on here? Imagine if it was like the Beatles landing and I discovered some kind of like a unknown footage that hasn't been released before, and then I could retire as a hippie in Bali. Dreams come true. Right, next time you see this, hopefully we'll have some moving image. Well, I don't know why I'm so excited. I just really want to see what this is. Is it in a different country? Is it in this country? Would it be Heathrow? Maybe. Imagine if it was Concorde or something like that. There could be something interesting on here. And flip that down. So I think we're ready to go. So I'll just have to kind of reel that up afterwards. Right. Ooh. And turn it on with the light. Oh, no, off at the mains. 1 second. Right, turn it on. Now. Coming out, coming out. Hold on 1 second. Right, there's nothing happening on. There's nothing happening there. Let me try to focus it. Still nothing happening. Maybe I've gone the wrong way. There's nothing there. How can there be nothing there? Oh, 1 second, it's not coming through. Oh, I think it's got jammed up. Oh, annoying. Hold on. I don't even know if the thing's focused, you see. Right. I suppose it makes it very complicated when you haven't got the second reel. What's happened here now? It seemed to stop pulling through. Why did you stop? Oh no! Look what's happened. It's reeled it up like a tape cassette. Look here. Look at it. It's all around here. That tape's going to be ruined. How did that happen? Well, let me tell you what happened there. So basically, the focusing lens, I was just winding in and winding out, trying to get it to display a picture. And what happened is I wound it all the way in. I wound it all the way in, and then the back of it ended up hitting against where the film comes through. So I'd completely jammed up the film from being pulled through because the focusing lens was right against it. And of course the sprocket that I fixed earlier was still turning at however many revolutions a minute, and the tape had nowhere to go. So it just double backed on itself and it just wound around the sprocket wheel over and over again. Anyway, long story short, I have to take it apart again, just this area, to unwind it. There is one bit of film that looks a little bit damaged, but the rest of it looks okay, so I still think we'll be able to get something. So now let's cut to when I've got the tape ready to go again. Oh, whoa. Loads of you have been shouting at the screen. Look, if I put it this way, it locks into place, yeah? If I put it this way, then it's allowed to spin. Yeah, it's spinning. Can you see here? When I do it this way, this is moving, yeah? And now this way, it spins. So that's how you lock it in without actually having it driven. And then it's the same on this side. That way is going to be freewheeling, that way locks in. So if you had another tape, you would lock it in that way. Oh, it's all starting to make sense. So that's the great thing about experimenting with different things. Bit by bit, you can just start to learn what's going on. Fantastic. Right, here we go. Oh man. I need to keep the tension. Do you know what I need? I think I need a hand. I don't think I can do this on my own. We're getting something. Oh my god. Yes! Yes! We've got something! Oh my god! Oh, that's insane! It's a pier. Oh wow. Oh my god. That's 70s. That's 1970s. Insane. We've got it working. I really want to see the footage at the beginning of the aeroplane. Oh, this is so good. Right, let me mess around with it. Let me just get it more set up so we can have a bigger picture. It looks like it's a summer holiday. And what's amazing is when this was filmed, there would have been no such thing as the internet. So imagine when this was filmed, if the person, if they're still around now, there's going to be some people in this video that's certainly not around now, but if they are still around now, they would have never dreamt that it would be shown on a video, and it might be shown in front of 50,000 people, or if the video does well, who knows how many. Right, you ready? Here goes. See the aeroplane? How cool is that? Everything about it just seems amazing. That it's just coming off a reel. So I presume he'd be about 50 something now. This looks like, would it be fire brigade? Yes. How good is this? Aeroplane coming into land. I can't see. That's British Airways, is it? Somebody might know if that's Heathrow now. Where is that with that pier? It looks like a sandy beach. Somebody's going to recognise that. Little swimming pool, outdoor swimming pool. I don't recognise this place here. What's that say there? Circus and stalls. So that's on a pier, I reckon. And now we've got some boat footage. Would that be Dover? Maybe it's Dover. Right, I've taken the decision to blur out the family in this film and also cut bits out, because the thing is, when this was filmed, YouTube didn't exist, and it's not really, although I own now the film, because I bought it, it's not really fair, is it, if I show without their permission? And unfortunately, given that humans only live to a certain age, most of the family members here won't be alive anymore. And it's annoying because the video footage of the boys smiling at the camera and stuff and being so happy to see on holiday is really nice to see. But the bottom line is he looks to be about 13 or 14, and I think I'd feel uncomfortable if other people were showing pictures of my kids on here without my permission. And I can't get permission. I've asked the eBay seller and he doesn't know where it came from. It was a job lot, so he doesn't know the family. So yeah, apologies for that, but I hope you understand. I'm just going to show you now some footage of the next reel. And if somehow you do, I know it's unlikely because I haven't showed the pictures of the family, but if you do recognise this footage, let me know and you're more than welcome to have it back, because I don't need it. It's Donald Duck, so watch this. There he is. Let me just get it there.
Well, there we go. It's pretty charming. There's something kind of magical about it. It's just that it isn't actually that old. This is from the 1970s, but still. So there we have it. And that's it there. It's good, isn't it? Right, let me finish up. Thoroughly enjoyed that one there, and I thought it was lovely to see that. So yeah, if you recognise anybody, please let me know, because they're welcome to have this back. They might be able to digitise it. I know I've ruined little bits of it, but they should still be able to digitise it, and then you know, it might bring back some memories for someone. So I'll also message the guy who sold it as well, just in case he might know who it is. It might have come out of his father's attic or something like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one. With this one here, I've been using it for years and I love it, but there's one thing that really annoys me. This top has become really loose, and it's so you can hold it like this and turn it at the same time, you know, like that, for example. It's not where it joins here. It's this top section. So if this is loose, fine, you just screw it back in. Now, I've had a sneaky little look in here, and to me, it looks like there's a hex key, an Allen key. So let's see if we can tighten up fully. There we go. Right, let's take it out fully so you can see what's going on. Now, this is from this particular one here, Mako or Mako, but I'm sure the same one will apply to loads of different ones. So this is it here. It goes in there like so. Now, let me find out what size that is. Right, so it's a 2.5mm bit you need. Unfortunately, when it's in here, you can't actually use the iFixit kit to fix itself, so you need a separate little Allen key. But yeah, 2.5mm is what you need. Now, let's give this a nice good tighten up. So put this all the way through onto here, and we are actually going, it's reverse thread. Can you see that we're going lefty-loosey, counterclockwise? Right, let's tighten that right up. Is it still going to turn? Ah, yes. Hasn't been that tight in ages. I give that a good tighten. There we go. Oh, that's lovely. Now, for all those people that use these all the time, I know that the same thing's going to happen to your one. Look at that. Perfect. Now, just having a quick look at George's PS4 controller. He said he found it in a dumpster, since been cleaned, it had the incorrect charging port installed, held in with packing tape. I bought what I think is the correct one, but sadly no luck. The screw for it is unfortunately missing when I got it. But as far as I can see, I think it is working. I think the battery is just incredibly flat. So when I first of all got it, I plugged it in here and it was, I don't know, 1.1 volts or something. And now already it's got up to 2.9, but look at this, with this little power supply here, it's drawing next to no amps, but there's something there. Yeah, just a tiny, tiny little bit, but if you go across here, I can see it slowly creeping up. So watch this now, 63, and this is straight on the battery, 64. Right, it rebooted itself there. 1 second now, 50, 60, 63, 64. Yeah. So I think once it gets to maybe 3 point something volts, I'm not sure if this is original or not. I'm not too sure. There's something feels a bit off. It's really nice looking, but I don't quite know if this is going to be. That doesn't look like a Sony battery. Yeah, you can see it is slowly going up. So I think I'm just going to leave that plugged in for a while. And I think it will probably be okay then. Right, a bit of a bodge job, but I just got my pliers to cut down a screw, because when I put a normal screw in it, I started to damage the casing on that side there. Right, well that's in place there. As well as that, the little pins here are kind of folded back on themselves a little bit. Yeah, that's better. And I can see which way it goes in because the pins are this side on here.
Look at that, it's already gone up to 0.32. It's just the battery was completely flat. Actually, I wonder what it's attempt to turn on now. Yeah, there we go. I'll leave it for a bit and then I'll connect it up to my PlayStation 4. So it's about an hour and a half later now. You can see that it's dropped down to 0.13 of an amp. So I would say it's nearly charged. Let's connect it up to the PlayStation 4 and make sure it is connecting. So basically what it is that when the battery is completely flat, because I mean it was found in a skip, so it's just been drained. It might not have even been charged when it was thrown in there. When it's completely flat, when you plug it in to begin with, it's not going to give you any charge for a bit. But then I presume after a couple of minutes, you've seen it was like 0.01 and 0.02 of an amp, which is tiny. That really is absolutely tiny, just to get a little bit of charge into it. And I presume when the battery reaches a safe level, then it whacks right the way up to 0.3. So yeah, apart from the charging port, George, I don't think there was anything wrong with this. I think if you just left it charging a little bit longer, it would have worked. But let me connect it to the PlayStation and see if it's going to work. Right, it connected up absolutely fine, and look at it go. Yeah, so you can see it's working fine. So that is where something like this is a complete winner, because you can see it's doing something. Now, if you haven't got one of these and you just go to charge it, you're relying on the PlayStation controller or whatever you've plugged in to start flashing or give you some indication that it's charging. But with something like this, you don't just use it for faults. You can plug it in, and if you see a little bit of amp draw, you think, well, it's doing something, and then you can leave it a little bit longer, and this tells you what you need to know. So I think they're worth their weight in gold, these things. They're really cheap. You pick up one for less than £10, and yeah, I think they're really, really useful. Not as good as isopropyl alcohol, understandably, but a very close second. Anyway, let's move on to another item. So thank you, George, for sending those items in. Okay, next up we have this Advent Premium wired mouse, so a computer mouse, and it was sent in by Damien. He said he liked the fix on the card reader. He sent in a little micro SD card to SD card, a little adapter, and that was quite a few videos ago now. And it said the mouse was working fine until I knocked the laptop off the couch and damaged the USB end of the cable. This was the best mouse ever owned, and I can't get them anymore. Hope you're well. Best wishes, Damien. Thank you, Damien. So I had a look, and sure enough, I can see that it's damaged here. I mean, you can see it's. Can you see it's bent up here? So I thought to myself, there's two ways of doing it. You could just completely renew the USB cable. The problem with this is, it looks like this is kind of clipped together. There might well be hidden screws underneath here, here, and here, and then you could renew the cable. But I'm not going to have the strain relief. Sometimes you can slide the strain reliefs off if you would like to get some sharp tweezers and go in here. You can kind of work them around because it's nice. It looks nice when you've got a strain relief. But I thought to myself, you know what? For the purpose of the video, why don't we try to fix this end here? Because lots of people would prefer to do that maybe on another device that isn't as easy to open as something like this. I don't think this is going to be super easy to open, but you know, some devices are kind of like glued shut and stuff, in which case then they might want to just repair this bit. So I bought this off eBay, and it's female and also male ones, and basically you've got to make sure you get the right they're different on the inside. So this is one male one that I've knocked up already, so I'm thinking I might be able to just wire up this and we can just chop this off, and then I'm hoping the mouse will work again. So let's give it a go. I know it would be a nicer one if we had a completely moulded cable going right the way in, but I think this might be more useful to people. These come from China, but you get them off like eBay sellers. I think for I can't even remember if there's 5 each or 6 each, male and female. They were around about £5-ish there or thereabouts. Oh no, hold on. That's the one I want, isn't it? See, there's little holes here to locate. I think if we can get that soldered up and I clip that into place and also fill it with glue, I'm thinking it might look okay. So there might well be a standard for USB, I'm not too sure, but let's chop this here, and then I'm hoping I'll be able to kind of maybe break this open to see where the wires go, because I don't think I'm going to have any connections left, but we'll see. Right, so we've got 4 wires and a drain wire as well. I wasn't expecting to see that. Let's just see, is that drain wire connected to the shield in there? I just want to see if that drain is connected to anything. First of all, is it enamelled or is it normal? No, it's normal. Right, is that connected to that? Yeah, so it's connected to the shield. I just want to double check now if it's connected to any of these. Yes. It's connected to the white one. Okay. Let me just see on this now. Is this connected? Is one of these connected to the shielding? No. So now, do I have to? I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I'm going to have to connect this grounding up to the shielding off this or not. Let's try to open this up, see if it gives away any secrets. How nicely is this made? It's got shielding everywhere. Really is premium. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, they have put the shielded wire to here. Can you see there? So I will do the same. So it was worth taking this one apart. Right, so you can see it's completely snapped off there, but if I can get the probes in here, then I can find out where they go. Yeah, because we've got the 2 holes here, you know, with this white part, and these are like the 2 empty holes here where the pins are. So if I can, I'm going to get a bit of paper, and I might be able to just probe in here and see what's going on. Okay, so we know that that one's green, yeah? So that one here is green. Yes, got another one. That one there is red. I mean, this might be completely standard. Red. Blue. Right, I can see metal here, so this should be white, and then we definitely know 100% that it is connected there to that one. There we go. Excellent, and that's on the white one. Right, so we now know how to wire it up just like it was without having to look online or do anything else. So, let's get going. So let's tin up these little pads down here. Good news is they look really big. Nice and big. Do you know what? We don't need the plastic at the moment. We've just got more risk of burning it. So let's solder up these. Oh, nice. They're actual valleys. The little kind of, you know, they go down. Oh, look at that. So you can just fill them up with solder. Lovely. I actually think this is going to be quite strong, especially when we put some hot glue in there. So let me just get my measurements. So we want that to be... Oh, look at that, even clamps it in. Right, so we don't want this too long because it's going to end up being hard to do. So we need to cut them all apart from this one. We'll leave the ground one long, but we need to cut all these just here. Now hopefully when I strip them back, well, it doesn't matter. If I mess up, I just have to cut more of the cable back. Right now, white to the bottom one. So let's get this nicely done there. So that's where it's going to be. So I'm hoping I can kind of force this down into it. Oh my word, beautiful. Next one is blue. There's some stray wires there that's annoying me. Here we go. And last one is red. Look at that. I'm very happy with that indeed. And now, where are we going to put this now? So, it's going to have to be, because we haven't got a top for here, so really it's just going to have to be on this bit here, isn't it? So let's solder up a lump here on the inside. There. And let's do a nice bit here. Hopefully I can put that onto here. Let's cut that back. It's going to be there. There we go. Well, I am very happy with that. So now that's going to clip on. Yeah, that's going to clip on there. Is the strain relief going to be too small for here? Let's have a look. Do I have to make that bigger? Yeah, so I think I have to. Is it just the end bits, or do I have to go all the way along? That's a bit awkward now. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the soldering iron, and I'm just going to try to make that a little bit bigger down here.
Believe it or not, trying to get this cable guy just a little bit bigger took longer than all the stripping back and soldering off the connector. So this bit took the same amount of time as the rest of the video, which is just crazy. So I'm doing a little bit of melting, a little bit of scraping, just try to widen up the guide a little bit to fit the cable. If the cable was 1mm less in diameter, it would have fitted perfectly. But you know what, I suppose it's better to have a slightly tight connector rather than one that's baggy, because then one slight tug and the wire is just going to come straight out. Also, it looks awful, you know, when you put your own 3.5mm jack or something on and you've got a tiny wire going into it, it just looks rubbish. At least this will probably look better when it's all back together. Anyway, after all the scraping, I have widened up just enough to allow the cable to fit in nicely.
Starting to get there. Starting to. I wonder if we glue it. If we glue it and then clamp it like that. I think that's what we'll do. Right, okay. Then zoom out. We're going to get some black glue stick. And I'm just going to hope that my soldering is all okay. I can't see why it wouldn't be. And let's fill this whole area up with glue, squeeze it, clamp it, and then hopefully it will go off. So let's get it really, really warm. So I've got this set to 500 degrees Celsius. A lot of people keep saying to me about buying a glue gun. I don't want to. I really like using this because when you get it up to a higher temperature, it's supposed to stick better. And as far as I know, I think the glue guns that you buy wouldn't go up to 500 degrees Celsius. I could be wrong. Maybe some of them do. I think that might be ready to go. I need to get it all in one go though, so I need to make sure I've got enough off it. Should we try that? Right, let's go. Hope I don't burn myself. In. There's loads, Loads there. Right, let's clamp it shut. Ow, ow, ow. And squeeze. Really, I could do with it squeezing up the top as well. I need 2 pliers. Hold on. Right, I'm just going to hold it here for a few minutes. Hands are getting tired. Do you know what? I can see Marcel's vice just down there. Why didn't I get that up? I don't want to let go now, you see, because it's bit by bit the temperature's rapidly leaving here and I want the glue to set. I don't want to take the pressure off until it's set. Right, it feels like it's set. It's not too bad. Now I'm going to get the vise because my hands are getting tired, and just to give it one extra little squeeze for a bit. Should have done that at the beginning, that would have been much better. Right, I'm going to leave it like that for a few minutes. I'm going to clean up my mat in the meantime. Jumping the gun a bit, I know, but let's give it a little clean up. It has to work, doesn't it? Let's see how we're getting on here. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. Let me just cut off the excess glue. Do you know what I should be doing? An X-Acto knife really would do it nicely, wouldn't it? Amazingly, very little has spilt out. What's going on? None on that side. Wow, I am well pleased with that. Let me zoom right in. Right, look at that. I'm well happy with that. Remember, it's full of black glue in there. So, in a way, it's kind of moulded, isn't it? I could be wrong, and I don't know how good quality this is here, but I think they're going to be pretty standard. I would say that's going to be a lasting repair. Right, let's plug it in, see if it's working. Imagine after all this it doesn't work.
Who remembers this? The Apple MacBook that was water damaged. Somehow it's still working, even though I soldered up the wires from the screen straight onto the board. It's still actually working, which is unbelievable. Anyway, check out the mouse with blue light there now. And can you see over here? I don't know, you're not going to be able to see that, but you can see, you can't see anything. 1 second. Hopefully you'll see something now. So can you see that bar coming and going? Yeah. And if I move down, yeah. And let's try, you can't right click on a Mac, can you? Oh yeah, okay. Let's try clicking on this. There we go. And pause. There we go. Oh look, it suddenly went big. How did I make it go big? Oh, look at that. I didn't realise you could do that. When you go really fast, it gets massive. That's weird. Whee! Anyway, there you go. You can see it moving. So fantastic. Damien, I'll get that back in the post to you. Please don't send me anything, though, to be fixed, because these things here are just sent in for entertainment, not for me to fix them. But in this instance, because he loved the mouse so much, I will send it back. And I do believe that that repair will actually work. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I can't see why it wouldn't work long term. Right, next up we have a Q-Stick Duo. So this is one of these voltage detectors. Apparently it's brand new, but it's been run over, which is interesting. Run over by a car or a van. I can see a bit of stain in here, a bit of stain in here. And yeah, apparently it doesn't work. So let's press this button here and see if we can get some batteries in, just to confirm it's not working. Oh, it's this way. It comes off that way. Right, okay. What do we need here? Oh, no. That's annoying. I tried to bend it back and the end just flew off. Oh. Well, I'll probably have to fix it with sticky tape or something. Ah, that's so irritating because it was brand new. I thought it'd be a little bit stronger. Observe correct polarity when installing new batteries. AAA. Right, so nothing's happening. I think it's supposed to go... Oh, it's beeping at me.
Well, I'm going to save you about 30 minutes of work. Bottom line is, look, it's beeping at me now. It is actually working. It's just under these studio lights here, it's going to flash up with a tiny little green light every time it beeps, but you can't see it. When you put it up to mains, then it will go red. Interestingly, I did try putting it up to my soldering iron and I had it turned on and it didn't seem to go off. But I took it all apart. I can't see anything wrong with this. I'm just going to cut to the very end of the video to tell you what I think it was. But yeah, there's no point in showing you because I just cleaned it with IPA. I was kind of adding solder to bits. I just checked the LEDs were working. But the thing is, I think the previous person that gave it to me probably didn't give it enough of a chance, or maybe had the batteries in ever so slightly wobbly. And with me, I think if I'd known how to work it, I think it would be working in this instance here. I probably hit that little button when I was going up to my soldering iron cable, and that means it's only going to work when you're literally rubbing the white tip against the actual cable. Let me just cut to the end of the video to save your time.
Right, so that's it back together. It's lining up here now, and you can still take it apart to change the batteries there. So I think what the problem here was, I think that these were slightly bent out of place, and maybe the batteries weren't quite lining up properly on this back bit here. Because if, for example, the spring, these are only AAA batteries, and the spring's near enough the side of this bottom bit, maybe if it went off to one side slightly and made contact with the plastic, it might not make contact with that middle bit there. There we go. Let's see it working.
Near my studio lights. Woo! Woo! Yeah, there you go, it's working. And let's see about the sensitivity. Oh, I get it now. You hold it down, so watch this. It's going to go off here. Hold it down makes it less sensitive, but then when you get right up to it, it makes a noise. Oh, I get it. That's kind of useful if you did have a big bunch of cables, because then you could pick out the, hopefully, the live one. Yeah, that is good, because look, this goes off everywhere when it's near. Yeah? But not when you do that. It only goes off when you're right next to it. Oh, that's clever. Okay. And off. On. Off. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong. I think it was a placement off the batteries.
Right, next up we have a Sudoku game here, and it says, I'm a fan of your channel and watching your videos inspired me to try to learn and fix items that go faulty around the house. Brilliant. Nothing too difficult, but I'm learning how to diagnose with a multimeter and tried soldering. I'm sending you a pocket Sudoku game. The batteries leaked inside and the battery terminals got all corroded. I managed to clean them, and even though they're not looking the best, the continuity is there, so it does power on. The problem is with the display. It only displays faintly some characters. I tried cleaning the contacts on the PCB, but that did not help. I'm not sure if this kind of display can be repaired, but maybe you'd like to have a look. Or maybe it's destined to go to silicon heaven after all. Thanks for your great videos. All the best, Vaclav. Hope that's how I pronounce your name. Thank you, Vaclav. Yeah, faint thing on a PC, yeah. I'm wondering, would that be capacitor related? Let's have a little looky. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's clean. It's this side is not clean. It's that spring there. Unless, could it be that, do you know what could it be that because it was rusty, there wasn't as much, maybe the voltage wasn't quite fully going through, and that's why we got a faint display? Let's get a couple of AAA batteries, pop it in, see what it's doing, and maybe if we clean that up any more, let's see, because maybe it's behaving as if it's got low batteries. Like, for example, the rust causing resistance. And maybe it'd be like putting the battery through a resistor or something. Don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, look at that. Really faint. That's interesting. Yes, super faint, as in you can't really make that out at all. Right, well, let's get the white vinegar on that. Let's give it a good clean to try to get rid of that corrosion there. And then let's see then if it comes to life. I don't think it will. So white vinegar, these batteries that leak will be alkaline. This is an acid, so the idea is by mixing the two together, you're then gonna, these are falling apart, you're then gonna neutralize it. Now look at that one. That one's snapped off because although it's clean there, it's not clean where it actually meets the contacts. I think we're going to have to let's take this apart. Right, okay. We do have a capacitor. Ah, the wire for the speaker's just come off. Yeah, the speaker was working. We'll solder that in a minute or two. Zebra connectors. Right, okay. Whoops. Could it be dirty zebra connectors? It's possible. Or dirt on here maybe. They look very clean. Crystal. Why have they run a wire from there to there, I wonder? I'm wondering whether a bit of corrosion's got into this wire. Let's zoom in. It looks like they're using this to maybe feed the power into the chip, but I don't know why it wasn't designed on the circuit board like this. But look, it's coming from the positive here, isn't it? So this is the main VDD in. Let's see, is this, I want to see if it's black, the wire. No, it's not, is it? It's perfectly clean. Right, okay. Ah, there we go. It broke easy that side though. It broke easy this side. I'm wondering, do you know what I think it is? I think the wire wasn't making a good connection here, and maybe there wasn't really that much power getting into the chip. I mean, look at this here with this big blob of solder. It's all very odd. Why it wasn't designed, unless they used a board from something else and just modified it with a wire and a big blob. Okay, let's run a new wire.
So I clean up the battery terminals and I also run a new wire, and let's now see if it's going to work properly, because if there was bad connections before, maybe the chip wasn't getting enough voltage, which meant the screen was a little bit dim. So I'll just cut now to when we're about to turn it on, and we'll see if running the new wire and clean up the battery terminals have made any difference.
No. So it's not the wire. It must be zebra connectors. I don't think the screen would have failed. Or it could be capacitor. Those little carbon tracks remind me of the Game & Watch there. Can you see how they've used those little carbon tracks to jump over? It's like another, if you imagine another little circuit board on top of the printed circuit board, you know, from there to there, and from there to there, and across here to jump over those traces. Now let's take these out. They look absolutely perfect. Unless there's a bit of grime on there that I just can't see. Let's try just wiping them on here. I think they look good. No. What? Right, well, let's measure some voltages around the place. First of all, let's just see what the batteries are reading. Unless the LCD itself has failed. So we've got 1.57. 1.57, so we're going to have 3.14, yeah? So let's see if we got 3.14 here. We have, so it's not that. Right, now let's see, what have we got on this cap? 3.14. Could it be cap related? Yeah, I suppose it could be, couldn't it?
So this one I struggled on for quite a long time. Really, it could have been a video in its own right. But what I did is I changed over the capacitor because it was easy to do and it made no difference at all. And then I removed the blob that I showed you earlier. There was like a blob of solder linking up two capacitors, and it kind of bridged over where there was already a carbon track. So I thought, well, maybe that was done accidentally. So I got rid of that. It still didn't make any difference. Then I thought to myself, where the zebra connectors are, I can see it's kind of a bit scratched up. In other words, it's been cleaned, you know, maybe with a fiberglass pen or something, maybe because there was corrosion on it before, or possibly it was done to try to make the screen brighter, which makes sense. And I thought, I wonder if the zebra connectors are not making a great contact, because if it's a little bit scratched, for example, if one pad was a little bit a fraction of a millimetre higher than the one next to it because it was on a scratch, maybe that'd be enough for the next pad not to connect with the zebra connector. So what I did is, I got some flux and I put a little bit of solder on each of the pads and I tried it again. And I think it made it a tiny little bit better, especially if you were to put a bit of pressure on the screen. It definitely gets a little bit darker, but it would do, you know, like on a calculator when you're at school, you run your fingers across the display and you get all sorts of lovely colours and the blacks come out really strong. And then I thought, okay, but there was lots of it missing. While before it was working, it was just very faint. This time there was lots missing. So then I got some solder wick and I went across all the pads again. And this time it wicked up all the solder, but it left an even covering. So instead of the gold plating there, we now have solder plating. I don't know whether solder plating will tarnish a lot quicker than gold plating. I mean, they put gold on to stop the tarnishing. So if you were to, not that anybody would really care, but if you were to look at that in 20 years' time, would the solder be much worse than gold contacts? Not sure. If you could answer that in the comments down below, it'd be useful. And it still didn't make a difference. I think I got the display back, but it was still really faint. But what's interesting is, every time I hit reset, just like you can do on a Game & Watch, you know, you hit that button to reset it, it brings up all the characters on the screen. Every time I hit that, it was dark. So what's that about? If it was a problem with the zebra connector, it would be faint all the time. But every time I hit the reset, it was dark. But then it would only be dark for a split second when all the characters come up, and then it would just go back to a real faint display again. So then I had the idea, okay, well, what's happening when you hit that reset button? So I'm going to show you this part of the video now where I'm measuring voltages to see, are we getting a higher voltage up towards the screen when we hit the reset button compared to normal? Because maybe there's not enough voltage getting to the display to make it nice and bright. So yeah, let me show you that now.
Right, I'm wondering about this reset, and look, this is interesting. If I was to go between, let me just see what it is here to here. So it's still 2.3, but look, if I was to actually go from the negative here up to here, so we're 1.13 that side, but look here, we're 3.4. Yeah, and now when I do reset, I think it climbs a little bit. You ready? 3.4. Now I do reset. See that? It went up to 3.8. Yeah, and we know that when we press reset, the screen comes alive. Let's do that again. Hold on. See there? 3.7. Yeah, but normally it's at 3.4. So right now the game's working. You know, if I was to turn it off, and I think that's back on, this will just be at 3.4, not 3.7. So maybe it needs 3.7 in order to get good voltage. Now let's see what is happening on top of that capacitor. So it's 1.13. Now let's see what it does. Yeah, it goes all the way up to 1.6. So what does that mean then? What does that mean? Why does reset give it more, and how do we get more power into the screen? So what have we got here to boost it? I'm slightly confused there, unless there's some kind of like boost circuit within the chip itself. I think I'm going to pop out that capacitor. I know I'm spending way more time on this than I should do, but you know, the longer you spend on something, the more you want to work out what the problem is. Let's pop that capacitor out. Going to angle it away from the blob chip. I'm going to take a guess at 100 nanofarads. Let's see what it's reading. (108 nanofarad). No, I wonder if that's supposed to be 100 nanofarad. Or is it supposed to be 110? Let's pop out this one here. (104). You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get two 100 nanofarad capacitors and pop them in there and see if it changes anything. Hold on a minute. I don't think that wire's original either. Let's disconnect this wire. Hold on. Let's just leave that one flapping in the wind for a minute. Let's pop these capacitors back on. Alright, let's measure voltages now. Because look, this is you know, a carbon track again. It shouldn't be shorted, I don't think. I thought that was a factory wire, but you know, this original one here. But I don't believe it is now. (3.4), 1.3, 3.1. Right, okay, and now let's see what it jumps up to when we do the reset. It's very hard to know when you don't know the full background of this. See, I don't know if that's a factory wire or not. Interesting, didn't jump up much there. Only to 3.5. Do you know what? 3.4 now, and it's 3.5 on the reset. I wonder whether or not it's going to be okay. Let's see. Or does it need the 3.8 on that screen? Now we're starting to get there. Now we are starting to get there. Right. Oh, look at this now. It's almost there, I think. Beforehand, the wire would have read, where is my wire? This wire, or any wire, that red one there, it would have read, so there we go, a complete short, 0.7 ohms. But yet, if I go between these traces here, so this goes down to here, and here, can you see it's 164 ohms, and that's the problem. And where does that go? To that resistor there? Yeah, 66 ohms. So those carbon tracks, this must be designed for this to see 166 ohms.
Now, because I spent so long on this and it's still apart, I am going to remove the two capacitors and I'm going to put in two new 100 nanofarad ones, because one was 108, one is 104. I'm sure it's not going to make a difference, but still, we'll pop them in there and at least then it's got new capacitors, and I think at long last it might be fixed.
Alright, so I've got some 100 nanofarad ones here. Let's just double check them. Just pierce through the plastic. There you go, 95. So I'm going to put in two of them. You never know. They might work better. If they don't, I'll go back to the other ones. Right, here goes now. In. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. And we'll go to mode. And, no, sorry, start. 1 second, mode. Look at that. Start is counting up. Every single digit's there. Yes! Yes! So I can see that's flashing there. So if I was to put 2 there, yeah. What flashes now? It's still flashing there. Do I have to press enter? No, do I have to move it? Oh yeah, you move it there. 9. Yeah. So the only way I can do Sudoku is, I might actually have a mess around with it, is I have to remember what they all add up to now. But I go across the most busy one first of all. Oh, sorry, yeah. So for example, it's going to be 1 to 9. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? So it's 1 to 9 across here. So we know we've got 1, 3. We know we've got a 6, 5, and 4. So we got 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this could be 2, 7, 8, and 9. So what I do normally on a bit of paper is, or when I'm doing it on, when I did it years ago on a bit of a newspaper, I would write in small letters, small numbers there, what they could be. And then, for example, I now know here that this can't be 8 because look, we have an 8 here. It also can't be 2 because we got a 2 here and we got a 7. So the most likely one here is probably going to be 9. I'm not sure it is. I'm just saying, and that's what I would do. So yeah, where are we now? We're down there. It's fully. And this is with a nice, brightness around the place. Look at that. There's no arguing there. Even from different angles, you can see what's going on. Yeah. There's no arguing with that. Fantastic. Whee! Well, thank you, Vaclav. That really, I really struggled on that one there. But I think it's because I was thrown by this wire, which I thought was factory. But now I don't think it was. Oh, I'm really happy that we got that working. Excellent.
So that is it for this video. My favourite item by far was the projector, not just because of the film, even though I did enjoy that. I think it was just the inside of it. It just looks so nice, and it wasn't what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting to see it chain driven. I don't think I've ever seen that before, so that was nice. I think the next product that had the most interest maybe was this game here, because Tomy products are always interesting. But I think the thing that challenged me the most was this one here. But what gave me a lot of satisfaction was this plug here. I think using the black hot glue to kind of make your own moulded plug in a way was really very nice. So I'm looking forward to using that little kit again in the future. So that is it. I've already got more items that I fixed that were going to go in this video, but I'm thinking I've got to keep a little lid on the length of it because this is already going to be, I presume, a couple of hours long. So I'll get a move on and I'll fix other items, and hopefully they will be in another bumper fix video. If you enjoyed this one, give it a massive thumbs up, and I will see you all very soon. And if you know anything about that film there, where it was filmed, please put it down in the comment section, because I'm curious to see what it will look like now, 50 odd years later. Thanks for watching.
A little different than all the rest. A quite old-fashioned where I had sometimes played